Now we're going to jump into the mailbag and answer your questions, and we have some really fun ones. And the first one is, what are the side effects of creatine? So I actually took just a bunch of different questions I've got about creatine. So I have A, B, and C, and then kind of a D. A is going to be 2, and I'm going to break down the side effects of creatine and what you should expect. So the first question I've gotten is, I haven't been able to sleep while taking creatine. Has anyone else experienced this as well, or is it just me? So the thing with creatine is, when you take too much of it and you load, diarrhea and nausea can occur because it's actually very hard on your digestive tract. Once again, with 3 to 5 grams, the recommended dose you're to take, you shouldn't really experience this whatsoever. But people, particularly when they start, they read the bottle, it says load creatine. Take 20 to 30 grams of it at once for a week to make sure you load and saturate your muscles. This is an effective practice in theory. You will saturate your muscles faster and reap the benefits of creatine faster, but there's no need to do this. You can saturate your muscles just fine on the 3 to 5 grams, and it's going to be a lot easier on your digestive tract. So the chances are for this individual, probably taking a huge scoop, or they're hypersensitive to it and it's causing them some digestive issues. Maybe they're taking it right before bed, and that could be impeding their ability to sleep. Digestion is actually a very hard process on the body, and that's why we don't necessarily recommend eating before bed unless you have to, because you'll actually find by cutting off water, you let yourself sleep a little bit better, and it will stop you from having to wake up and interrupt your deep sleep. So in this case, the question of A and B, this should not be happening. It shouldn't affect your sleep at all. There's no studies for this, but there's a chance they are having some digestive issues, which are in turn impacting their sleep. So what I would recommend here, bring that creatine dose down. Start with 3 grams, see if you still get the benefits. I myself am 210 pounds. I only do 4 grams a day. I know some people say, I want a little extra, I'll do 8, 10. There's no need. And I've learned the same hack with laundry. I read online that a lot of us use just way too much detergent. It's unnecessary. It's actually harder on the clothes, and it's just going to help them some more detergent. So even with Tide Pods, I've always used 3 or 4 because I'm like, more the merrier. But I've switched down to 1 or 2 for most of my loads of laundry. 1 for a normal, 2 for a huge one. And I've noticed my clothes are just as clean. My clothes look like they're taking less of a hit. And it's just amazing when you realize these things and you're like, you don't just always need to do more than what you need to do for no reason. Even Kyle filmed the reel today of him doing Bulgarian split squats, saying don't do these, and then he started hitting burpees after, because we just have a tendency to overdo it or need to go instead of doing what we know is effective and necessary. And with creatine, I've never loaded. I've only loaded 1 time. That's because I need to make weight for a powerlifting comp. Then I loaded for a 48-hour weigh-in to try and get the benefits of it, and that was the only time I did it. But in general, it's just not necessary at all. You can cause diarrhea, indigestion, stomach pain, all these different things, so I would avoid that. But by taking a moderate amount, you shouldn't get any of these things. Once again, 3 to 5 grams is more than enough. So that's the question. Should you load creatine? The answer is no, it's not necessary. Second question, should it interrupt your sleep? Not at all. The second question, and a big reason a lot of people stay away from creatine, is that there was a study that showed that creatine actually increased DHT. So what's DHT is it's a whole different minefield. We're not even going to get into it, but the increase of this androgen is actually sometimes correlated to loss of hair. So people said, obviously then creatine causes increase of this, it's causing you to lose hair. But this was only found in 1 study, and it has never been able to be replicated, and it was only found in men. So once again, this is an old study. It kind of got really blown up, and then there's a lot of studies disproving it. I've taken all this time, been fine. Long-term studies have shown this isn't a problem at all. So I really wouldn't worry about it at all. And just because it increases this one androgen doesn't mean it's necessarily going to make you lose your hair. That's where science gets interesting. It's so easy to draw parallels, and the clickbait can be creatine causes hair loss when you don't get the full story and you realize, oh, it's just an increase in this one androgen, but all the study participants maintain their hair, and it's just someone drawing a further conclusion without actually backing it from the evidence. So I would say you have no worries here. You can take creatine safely. That is no problem. And then the last and final question is creatine bad for your kidneys? So fun story, even I got my blood work done and my creatine was so high in my system because I'm supplementing with creatine that my doctor's like, this is indicative of kidney failure. I'm like, well, I'm taking creatine, so it makes sense my levels would be high. And he's like, okay, but we got to retest just to be sure. Get off the creatine, then do it. And I retested, everything dropped down super low. I was totally fine. He's like, okay, I thought so, but I was just being safe. So there's an assumption that just because high levels of creatine can be indicative of kidney failure, that creatine could cause kidney failure, but this has not been shown at all. And I'll quote from Examine here so you can get it right from the source. They said, in people with healthy kidneys, long-term creatine supplementation is safe, but there are no long-term creatine studies in people with kidney issues. For these people, using a low dose of creatine, if any, would be prudent. So in this case, if you have significant kidney issues and you want to be safe, maybe stay away. But even so, there are no studies saying that it's actually bad. And just because you're increasing the levels of creatine doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And creatine is a very proven, trusted, incredible supplement that is going to have tons of benefit in general, and it's going to help you get stronger. It's going to help with endurance. It's going to help just with so much. So it is definitely a supplement I recommend taking. Quite simply, in short, 3 to 5 grams a day. You should achieve saturation through that, and within that, you can take that at any point in the day. Maybe stay away from it at night, and you can take in your coffee. You can take it hot, cold. It's just very simple. Monohydrate is more than enough. Keep it really simple when it comes to supplementation, but this is one supplement I wholeheartedly believe in, and there are no really prudent side effects from the research I've studied and what's out there today.
Yeah, I'm really glad Josh spent some great time on that, especially because it's 100% in our list of just like the top 3 supplements. And even if you want to get a free guide that Josh actually put together, down below, he spent some great time on just looking through the research, the studies, and what makes the most sense, and like different budgets based off your situation, how long you've been training. You can get that completely free. But it's funny, just like the one small thing, I know Josh had some great info there, was that like so many people think correlation equals causation. Like there's someone out there, let's say, who has some kidney issues, some hair loss or whatever, and they start to just contribute it to that. But it's like, there's so many other contributing factors, and that's where a lot of these studies, like Josh said, they'll go for clickbait. They'll just maybe try to just be promoting some other product or whatever it is. You always have to look into like what's actually taking place, and that's why you've come to the right source, because we'll be able to look at these specific things and look at it from a different perspective. Some people out there are trying to market things. Some people out there are trying to scare you, the news, like all this other stuff. But that was some great insight. Definitely the top 3 supplements, and make sure to get your free guide, and we'll send that over to you right away.
Yeah, it's totally free from us. We're always trying to give the best content we can, and like I said, I keep my supplementation very simple. So I lay out the science. I say if you should take it based on the budget you have present, and you'll find it's a really helpful little guide, especially with supplementation. We get nothing from it. There's no links to anything, so definitely go ahead, take advantage of that, and you're gonna get the benefits.